Well, you guys probably remember we just started a new hunting plot. We're going to be a clover plot. And now we're actually installing the stand, mock scrape, camera location, doing some chainsaw cutting to help really constrict that deer movement around there. So I really want to show all these pieces, how they're coming together, and talk about how we're going to get this started, how we're going to get that clover planted, and how it's going to turn into a beautiful clover plot by this fall. So watch and follow along. You can see Jen and Wes spent some time putting this family tradition ladder stand together. Comes together really fast, very, very sturdy. We're going to throw that out on the property right now and put all the other pieces together. Follow along. Now all three of us are working to get these pieces together. Jen is going and grabbing a camera to add here. We're going to make a mock scrape. Wes, in the meantime, is getting that ladder stand up in that tree right behind me. And I'm going down here. There's a bunch of nice aspen I can't wait to cut down to create more of a pinch point right through here. Here's that food plot. I'm going to talk about how we're going to plant that and get that going too. But right now, we each have our job to do, and we're going to get all these pieces together, and we'll show you when it's done.
Well, I'm on my way over to a neighboring food plot that we called Jack's to grab a 3.0 camera that just hasn't been a good producer for us in that location. So we're gonna put this camera on a mock scrape, which is one of the 3 ingredients of a new stand location. So stand, camera, and then the mock scrape. So I'm gonna go do that, then head back over to Jeff and Wes.
Well, we got all our pieces together in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We got to get going, right?
We sure do.
Yeah. So this has been a historic pinch point down here. We already created that pinch point years ago for a stand that was in here. We're bringing everything back. So I added about 7 or 8 more trees cut to really improve that pinch point. It's not that I expect them to go to only right here. I don't want to pinch them off that tight. There's some really good trails that are about 10, 15 yards back. That gives us a shot over there at like 30, 35 yards and over here too. So I wanted to leave those open. I don't like constricting things to just a 10-yard shot or 15-yard shot because this pinch point is pretty close right here. So Wes got the stand installed up there. And then we always, like Jen was saying, when we find a stand location, camera location, mock scrape spot, tree stand, all 3 go together. This right here, you see we mowed it out. And what's great about all this switchgrass is throughout the winter, a lot of this is going to blow away, turn nothing, and you can see the soil right underneath. So I had people ask, well, what about just throwing our clover blend down here in the spring and frost heating? We need to get rid of all this debris right here, for one. But 2, there's going to be a bank of weeds here that the switchgrass has suppressed. As soon as we get sunlight, water, moisture in the spring, it's going to pop. So really important that we take care of weeds. And I can't stress that enough. A lot of times you out there, you're really itching to get your favorite clover blend in the ground. And we have our favorite clover blend based on 25 years of research. And we'll talk about that in a second, but you have to take care of the weeds. You have to. So in this case right here, what I learned throughout the years is you can get a really good catch on clover. You don't have to frost seed it. As soon as these weeds come up in the spring and they're 7, 8 inches high, the switchgrass included, because we just mowed it down, I'm going to hit it with 2,4-D and glyphosate. 1 pint per acre 2,4-D, 2 quarts per acre glyphosate. We're not going to till this, disc it, because we're going to create erosion and we're going to bring more weeds in. It'd be bad for the environment. We're already losing topsoil out of our farm fields out here. They estimate 60 more years. They've been basically working these fields for about 160, and they think that all the topsoil is going to be gone in about 60 years with completed as the deep tillage, plowing, chisel plowing continues. So we're not going to exacerbate that problem even on an area like this, especially when it's tilted in. So we'll spray this and then weeds will come up again. Weeds are ever an invading army. They're always coming in. So I would estimate that we're probably going to spray this depending on the spring. Right now we don't have much snow and frost, so it might be an early spring, but I would estimate that we're spraying this by right around May 1st. In that second spraying, and we might get earlier than that, but that second spraying is going to be more about 4 weeks later, and it's going to be around the end of May. Now we're risking summer drought with planting clover. We own a seed company, so I don't mind risking it because, as Wes pointed out today, your dad was saying the Farmer's Almanac said we're going to have a wet spring. So I'm going to hold him to that. And we better,
Yeah, right.
no, you never know. You never know. It's always a risk anytime you plant, but I like the sounds of that.
Yeah, me
And,
too.
and so we found that our clover does really well. We have a spring drought attack perennial blend, and it's our same perennial blend. We add an annual ryegrass to it. I don't like ryegrass, but we're using it as a cover crop and it dies. It's annual. It doesn't persist because ryegrass that persists, perennial ryegrass, is really bad. It's a good mix in size for our clover blend. Our clover blend has 4 clovers to hit any need. It also has chicory. We know the exact amount of chicory. I researched this, played around with combining chicory and clover 25 years ago. And so I know the exact amount we want to act as a nurse crop. So that chicory will come in, it helps ward off summer heat, summer drought. It has a long taproot. Chicory is very drought proof, and that helps nurse the clover along. So we have 2 ways to nurse that clover, and there's actually a third way in case of summer drought, and that's the annual ryegrass. It'll die out. It's just a 1-year thing. We can actually mow it out later too, say in July when the clover first flowers. And then we have the chicory. And then we also add birchfoot trefoil in there. That's for more wet areas in case one of the drier clovers doesn't grow or drier soil clovers doesn't grow. Then you always have that birchfoot chicory in there. And then we have alfalfa. Clover grows in this layer. Alfalfa grows in this layer above the clover. So it takes place in an area where it can add more volume to the whole entire perennial plot. And the deer eat that down. We mow it. We mow it when those first flowers are out. When about half of them are dead, we hit it with a mowing, and then we come in with our liquid fertilizer from Deer Grow and hit that to grow. And usually I think that was 0, 10, 20, 0, 20, 20, right around there. So no nitrogen, it's just to take care of that clover. And I would anticipate we get that first mowing around July. And if all else fails, we'll be using one of our 365 blends. We have a Nebraska blend and our Fall Power blend. 365, and that 365 refers to that same perennial blend as a base. Then you get the fall cool season annual, and then the next year, which would be 2026, we'd get this clover coming in very strong, and that'll ward off any drought that Mother Nature can throw its way during the summertime. You're always risking planting clover in the spring. We always recommend that you use a nurse crop, and we do have that built in. That's why we have the spring drought attack perennial blend. And so that's the story of this. And going forward, again, we're mowing that clover sometime in July, likely. It's usually June on clover that's already existing. On a new plot, we're going to be end of June, more July. We'll mow it, and that'll be our only mowing for the year, and then we'll hit it with fertilizer, and then we'll take a big, lush crop of clover into the hunting season. And what's really cool about a little plot like this, it really doesn't mean much in the deer world. We're not creating a doe factory where we have a pile of does and fawns sticking around here, eating it all summer. In fact, this still represent, even though we have about 9 clover plots, I'd have to count them up on this property, they don't even total 2 acres. Our total food plot acreage is 18 acres. So we're talking a very small percentage. None of the other ones are planted during the summer for any kind of fall or summer forage. We don't want that. We want them eating out on the lush ag fields and not overpressuring our food plots and crops here on the property. So that being said, this will get established during the summer. Any buck that comes through here will hit the mock scrape, will enjoy hitting the clover. It'll establish a pattern of use. And even if this clover volume, and we're finding the volumes hold really strong until about December 1st. Now, if you're in Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, areas more central to the country or south, then that might persist into January 1st. But we're finding December 1st, there's still quite a bit of green in our clover plots. And even if that volume is going down to nothing sometime in mid-November, it still establishes a pattern of use. So even though that buck only comes through here once a month, once every other week during the summertime, he's going to know it's here, and it establishes a pattern of use when he comes in here later in the fall, especially October, November, and getting in through the rut. And we're creating this for rut. Again, water hole right over there. We're going to chisel a trail right out to it. There's already one. We're just going to make it a little bit better. Jen and I walked it the other day. It's perfect. And then this trail goes into an 1.25 acre food plot right over here. So this is just a small, and I haven't even measured this, but I doubt it's 1/8 of an acre. Might be 1/10 of an acre. Perfect size, surrounded in brush, switchgrass on the top side here, thick cover with a constriction and pinch point right back here. And the table is set for the fall. Now the only problem, it's the end of January. We have a lot of months to wait, and we're going to watch it with the trail camera right here, see what deer and wildlife are coming through this area. And we can't wait to show you how it all comes together later this year when we're actually sitting in that tree stand enjoying a hunt. Everyone, thanks for watching to the end of the video. I really want you to check out whitetailhabitatsolutions.com, Pure Wildlife Blends. There's so much we have to offer you. You know, if you never buy anything from us or hire us to come to your land, that's okay. We're still going to be putting out all this free content to try to help you out. I want to put a smile on your face. I want you to have a great hunt. But from our food plot seed blends to books to web classes to hiring us, we have lots of stuff to offer on whitetailhabitatsolutions.com and Pure Wildlife Blends. Make sure you check it out. The links are in the description.